Obviously, you had the big wins over Arturo Gatti.
Right?
Fantastic wins.
Yeah, they were.
Were they the hardest fights of your career?
Um, I would say so, yes, sir. I mean, coming through the coming through the pro ranks when you first start, it's not as easy. It's hard, but I was a decorated amateur, so my fights were easy. I had a couple. I had a kid I fought from New York, whose name was Freddie Rivera. He was good. Then I fought Demetrius Sabalas from South Africa. He was tough. I fought him for the USBA title.
Yeah.
My first 12-round fight at the Blue Horizon here in Philly. He was really tough. But I got past him. I got that win. Then I fought a kid named Lewis Masonette. He was tough. When I fought him, I think he was like on a 9-knockout streak. He was really, really tough. But we trained hard for him. Actually, that was the time I had met Buddy McGirt. Yeah. And Buddy McGirt invited me to his gym. And I worked with Buddy McGirt, and I worked with a couple of his fighters. They got me ready for that. That was my first, back then, USA TV was the TV that was doing everything, Tuesday night fights. And we fought in Secaucus, New Jersey. And what was crazy about it, I fought on Arturo Gatti's undercard. He was the main event. I was the co-feature. He fought for the title, and I fought a 10-round fight. I had some great fights before I got to Gatti. I fought a kid from my city named Jimmy Dorio. He was a tough kid. We never fought in the amateurs because he was always bigger than me. He fought at 132, and I fought at 125. But we traveled together. But I fought him. And after I beat him, I think I defended my USBA title twice, and then I became number one in the world. And my fault, I was number 2 in the world by the IBF, and I got a shot with at the time with Philip Holiday, which was the champion. He was from South Africa.
Yeah,
and he wasn't nothing special, but I think what kind of jittered me, kind of got me kind of like thinking about him was that I remember when we was in camp and I was doing a lot of running because I didn't run a whole lot of miles. I ran 5 miles every day except for Sunday. And this kid, Philip Holiday, was running marathons in South Africa. So it was kind of skeptical. I was wondering what my conditioning was going to be like. But I had a great conditioning coach. It was great. But that was my first HBO fight. Man, it was a thriller. I think between the both of us, we do something like 2,000 punches.
Wow.
The whole fight, man, it was tough. It was really tough. But I thought I squeaked it out, and I lost the fight. I was kind of upset, but I wasn't that upset. I still had the USBA title. So what I did after that, they scheduled me a fight with Israel Pito Cardona. But after the Philip Holiday fight for the title, I kind of like got lackadaisical, went home, blew up in weight, did a lot of eating, didn't really do a whole lot of training. And when they set the fight for the date, the day before the fight, or 2 days before the fight, I remember jumping on a scale and I was still like 12 pounds over. Wow. And it was 1 or 2, in the fight game, you learn a lot as you go on. Yeah, and one thing that I learned that I had the knowledge to know was that even though I was a champion, I still had the capability of telling the the promoters, either I didn't want to take the fight or I wouldn't put my title on the line. But at that time, they kind of like put a gun to my head and told me that either if I didn't fight the kid, I was going to lose my USBA title and I would lose my number 3 spot in the world. And, it didn't matter. With me, you couldn't challenge me because I was always up for a challenge. And I messed around and I lost the weight in 2 days, but it drained me. I didn't have nothing left. I beat the kid for like the first 2 rounds, but by the 3rd round, I was weak. And he wasn't a big puncher, nothing, but it was just the fact that I lost a lot of weight, and I didn't have nothing left, so they stopped the fight. So my thing was I had to go back to the drawing board and get myself back in shape. And I went back in the gym. I think I reeled off like 6 or 7 fights. And what happened was I took a fight. I think like 2 months ahead of time. And in the fight I got cut. And my cut man, Leon Tabs, I'll never forget it. He told me, he said, you need to put butterflies on the cut. So that's what they did. They put butterflies on the cut. But what we didn't know was that the leather from the headgear opened up the cut.
Oh no.
We was supposed to fight Shane Mosley. We was getting ready for Shane Mosley. Show you how, things work, God puts you in position for certain things. I was getting ready for Shane Mosley, and I tell everybody, and my camp knew it too. We would have beat Shane Mosley, and Shane Mosley was the hottest lightweight in the world at the time.
Yeah,
Shane Mosley was champion. Like I said, I think it was number 3 in the world, and it made me mad because Shane Mosley came to Philly to fight. He was going to fight another kid from California or Sacramento in my city. So what I did when they had the press conference, I went down to the press conference and I challenged Shane. I said to him, like, how you going to come in my city and challenge somebody else from another part of the city to fight you for the title, and you in my backyard, and you ain't even called me and asked me to fight. So me and him got into it. We had words. So the promoters and them was like, look, let's just make the fight. So I was like, all right. We was like 6 weeks away. I was already in the gym training. But I wasn't doing no boxing, but I was training. Yeah. So as soon as the fight was signed, I went to sparring. And like the second day in camp, the cut reopened because I had just fought. And I was out of the fight with Shane Mosley. The city of Philadelphia was really extravagant about the fight. They really loved the fight. They wanted the fight because Shane was hot. And they knew that at one point I was still one of the top guys in lightweight division. So the fight fell through. I was mad. I was with Main Events. They was upset that we couldn't get the fight. Me and Shane talked a lot of trash talking because, from 89 to 92, me and Shane Mosley traveled on the same USA Olympic boxing team.
That's right.
We seen each other. We knew each other. So we wanted to make the fight, but it didn't go through. So my manager, which was Eddie Woods, and like I said, I was promoted by Main Events. Gatti had just got beat by Angel Man Freddy.
Yeah.
And they so-called themselves, they wanted an easy fight for Arturo Gatti. So they called my manager and told my manager they wanted to fight. So we was in the gym training because we was hoping to get a fight. So he came in the gym all happy and mad. So we was like, what's wrong? He was like, I got some good news and I got some bad news. So I was like, well, man, look, tell me the bad news and, we'll deal with the good news later. So he said, the bad news is I just got a call for you to fight. And normally the way me and my manager was, we was real tight. It was like the father and son. He would never make no decisions without running it through me and my team. He would never make any deals without me and my team. But for some reason, he made this deal already. So he was like, I got a good decision and a bad decision for you. So which one you want? I said, well, give me the bad decision. He was like, well, I made a fight for you. So I was like, well, that's not really bad. That's good because we was already out the gym for like 2.5 months already. So I needed something. He was like, I got a fight for you. So I was like, okay. He was like 10 rounds. He was like, it's not for a lot of money, but the kids you're fighting is dangerous. So I'm sitting there like, all right, well, tell me the guy name. He was like, Arturo Gatti. I was like, who? My team was like, what? He was like, Arturo Gatti. I was like, no, you're not talking about the boy who just lost to Angel Man Freddy. He was like, yeah. I was like, yo, man, he's a threat. But I'm from Philly. I don't care. I was like, man, let's take the fight. He was like, you sure? I said, yeah. He was like, yo, it's not for a lot of money, but I think you can beat him. I was like, I know I can beat him. I was like, make the fight. So the next morning, because I lived right around the corner from me. He called me and was like, yo, let's go to camp. I was like, what you mean? He's like, yo, you want this fight? Let's go to camp. I was like, let's go. We geared up, called my team, met with my lawyers and them. They put the deal together. By the end of the week, I was in camp. And we was ready, man. We had 6 weeks for the camp. I really didn't, it was a camp, but I didn't really go out of the city of Philadelphia. I just went like up in the suburbs and I stayed up there for 6 weeks, man. Me and my manager both lived in Jersey, but I was in Philly. My manager would come over every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, pick me up and ride me all the way back over to Jersey just so I could run. Man, we did that for 6 weeks. We conditioned in the morning. We trained at night. We boxed at night. I went back home and well, not home. I went back to the camp.
Yeah.
And I did everything right, man. I was just ready. And it was just crazy because you know, you always do a press conference like 2 weeks before the fight, or sometimes a month. But since we was only fighting in Atlantic City, and Gatti was from Jersey City, and I was from Philly, the press conference was like a week and a half away. So we go to the press conference, you know, they bring us up to the podium, tell the audience who fight, because we had a big audience for the fight. So they asked me first, they put me on the pedestal first and asked me about Gatti. You know, I told everybody he was tough, you know, bring good, he's a good fighter. You know, you can't sleep on him because he can knock you out with any punch. Yeah. You know, gave him a lot of great comments and stuff. And then I sat down. He gets up talking about how he gonna knock me out and he gonna beat me. I can't take no body shots and this, that, and other. Then the last thing that stuck with me was that the press conference was in New York too. So he says to the audience and to the commentators, news guy says, oh yeah, well, Ivan, he bringing knives to the fight and I'm bringing my guns. So, you know, I never paid it no attention. He said what he said. Afterwards, we took pictures and everything. So I'm riding back home in the car with my manager and my best friend, who's one of my guys. So I turned around and I said to him, I was like, yo, his name was Rennie. I was like, Rennie, what did Arturo Gatti mean about knives and gunfights? So my man Rennie, I'll never forget this the day I die. He said, man, you must be the stupidest guy in the world. I said, what you mean? He was like, you don't know what Gatti mean? I said, no. He said, man, Gatti said knives mean you ain't gonna do nothing but cut him up. He got the guns, he gonna knock you out. He should have never told me that. The whole camp, it was on the whole camp. So, the whole camp, I'm a boxer. I'm not a big puncher, but I'm a boxer. So I'm basically just thinking the whole time in camp, I'm a boxing, but I'm still mad about what he said. So the night of the fight, right before we go to walk out in the ring, me and my team, we always say a prayer. We always get in a huddle and we say a prayer. We always say a prayer. We said our prayer and everything. And everybody was like, Mighty, go out there and do your thing. So, right before the walkout, they always have your guys in front of you and then you like in the middle. Man, right before we went to walk out, when they opened the doors, I told my whole team, I was like, yo, in order for Arturo Gatti to win this fight, he had to kill me. He had to knock me out. So they was like, what you mean, Ivan? I was like, man, this kid, I'm going to bang with this kid, man. I'm going to fight him right in the center ring. They was like, no, don't do it. Next thing you know, I shot straight out the tunnel. I left my whole team, ran straight to the ring. They was like, man, you crazy. I never expected the first fight to be that thrilling. I never really expected to get the fans that type of fight. But, it was a great fight, man. And really, to be honest with you, the fight went too fast for me. I mean, it was a 10-round fight. Gatti didn't win 12 rounds. He won it 10 because I don't know what reason he won it. He only won it 10. So that made it good for me. I shouldn't have slugged with him, but it was just that the fight was just so, I don't know. I don't want to say it was exhausting because it wasn't. Because after the 10th round, I could have still went like another 2, 3, 4, whatever rounds we needed to go more. I could have went with him. It was just an exciting fight. I think I took some heavy blows in that fight that I never took in my whole career. But I think I did exactly what I needed to do to win the fight. I'm glad I won. I didn't really like the decisions on some of the scorecards, but the main thing was I won. Now, what I did the second fight, I should have did the first fight, but it turned out good for both fights.
Yeah.
It was that Gatti fight, I think with boxing is a great sport. Because people say it's a game, and I keep telling, like all my fighters that I train, I keep telling them, look, stop going around saying you play box because you don't play box. You cannot play box. You can't do this. Boxing is something that you really gotta love to do. And even though I'm not fighting no more, I take boxing seriously. All my fighters say that I'm the toughest trainer that they know. That's only because I know what it takes to be a real true fighter. I've been in there. Nobody wants to get hit, but that's the name of the sport. The sport is called hit and not get hit. These guys nowadays are getting hit, and they really getting hit. So, I just try to teach the fundamentals, try to be really strict on what I say and how I say it. I don't try to be, excuse my expression, I don't try to be a badass about it, but I really take it seriously because at the end of the day, like I tell everybody, and me and my wife talk about it all the time, I definitely is for real about what I do. At the end of the day, I tell all my guys, like my wife will call me sometimes and she get mad because I don't answer my phone. But like I tell her, when my fighters come in the gym, a lot of my fighters come in the gym at 6:00 at night, and we train for 2 hours. I tell all my fighters, and I got some fighters that are married, some that have girlfriends and have kids. I tell them, look, they know you come to the gym every day. I need 2 hours. When you come in the gym with me from 6 to 8, you're not to answer your phone. So why would I tell my fighters that they shouldn't answer their phone and I'm on my phone?
Yeah, it's true.
No, my rules are strict. Whatever I say, I abide by all my rules every day, all the time. I just want to help who I can help. Yeah. If I can help the kids, I try to do my best in helping them. If I get the recognition in helping kids, I'm cool with it. But at the end of the day, I'm cool, and I'm loving the fact that I'm able to teach them, and I love the fact that I was once one of that guy that the young fellas looked up to.
Yeah, but now you're leading by example. Do you know what I mean? And
right.
That's fantastic. I mean, you sound like you say you're really calm now and everything in life, and that's great to hear. Like we said earlier, You're not talking about a comeback or anything like that.
No, I mean, I just turned 50 like 3 weeks ago, boo.
2 months ago.
Oh, 2 months ago. Damn. See, I turned 50 in February, so I'm happy that I'm able to talk to you. Because I've come up with, I didn't come up, but I came in that era with a lot of fighters like Roy Jones, James Toney, all those guys I talk to every day. I'm saying we do things together with these amateurs and stuff. Some of these guys that we grew up with, they either not here no more, they dead for whatever reason, God rest their soul. And then some of them just don't have the capability to sit and talk to you like I'm talking to you. So, I thank God for, looking over me and making sure that I was okay in the time that I put in the years of this boxing.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to hear, and like I said earlier as well, you're passing on your knowledge. I mean, you've got a lot of knowledge, obviously, but you're passing it down to youngsters and stuff, and that's great to hear,
Yes, sir.
What about, so obviously we spoke about the Gatti fight and everything like that. What about other career highs? What would you say would be one that sort of stands out?
Well, see, I believe in the sport of boxing. They say it's a tough sport, which it is. but you have to take it for what it's worth and make fun of it, make memories of it, and do the best that you can at the time. Man, I mean, I was just in the era at that time where boxing was great. You know, I started boxing when I was 5. That was back in 1976, you
Yeah.
know. So and then I went through the amateurs. I was a great amateur fighter.
Yeah.
I tried to sneak in and go to the 88 Olympic trials. I got beat. So I decided to wait around another 4 more years, and that was another 8 years, and that was for the '92 Olympics. And I knew I was a great uh, candidate for that Olympic team.
Yeah.
But along that journey, you know, I met Oscar De La Hoya. I fought him 3 times in the amateurs. And I think that's what really put me on the map as people knowing who I was, because those fights with Oscar were great fights. You know, when me and Oscar met, I think Oscar was only like 16. I think I'm like a year older than him, so I was like 17.
Yeah.
And we fought each year we fought in our first time we fought was in '89 when I met him in the Golden Gloves finals. Um, he was from California. I'm from Philadelphia, which was Pennsylvania. We fought in the finals, and I really thought I beat him, but for some reason, Oscar was the Golden Boy, which they call him now.
Yeah.
He was the
Yeah.
Golden Boy. I lost to him then. Then I turned around and fought him like 3 months later in the I think it was the Pan American, no, the Goodwill Games. I lost to him. I got another silver. You know, a lot of people thought I beat him there, and then I turned around and fought him the last time, less than a year later at the ABF Nationals, the ABF Nationals, which was out in Colorado Springs, and you know, he even said that he thought I beat him, but you know, it is what it is. But I was just happy that I was on the scene. You know, I was #2 for the next year and a half under him. When he moved up in '92, the early part of '92, he moved up because he said he was getting too big. But honestly, I really think Oscar didn't want to see me no more, even though if they would have gave me the decision or whatever. But our fights were just wars, because in the amateurs, you normally don't stop guys because of you know, the pedigree of the fights. And even though it's 3 minutes, you basically trying to score. You ain't trying to sit around, take your time, place punches or nothing like that. And I think he was getting to that point where he was knocking guys out at 125 and he couldn't hold that weight. I was the only guy he didn't knock out in them 3 years that he fought at 125, but he was knocking everybody else out. So he said he couldn't make the weight. He moved up to 132. So me and him complied with each other, talked to each other, and you know, got a good relationship. But we're not the best of friends, but we got a nice little good relationship. He fought at 32, I fought at 25, and we were sure at 125. But in the Eastern Trials, I lost to a kid named Julian Wheeler, and he went on to win it in the Western because he fought in the Western trials. You know, he beat everybody. I beat everybody except for the kid Julian Wheeler. It was just crazy how Julian Wheeler got in, because he messed around and went to the Olympics, and he lost to I think he lost to either the Cuban or either the Korean kid. Now, no, my fault, the Soviet. Now that the year before that, I knocked out the Soviet. The same kid he fought in the Olympics, I knocked him out. So I mean, I'm not toot my own horn, but that tells you right there, then and there. I mean, I would have won a gold medal automatic. But you know, you live and you learn. So, you know, I had a great amateur career that led me to my professional career, that had me in good fights with like Jesse James Lehigh, Vivian Harris, Julio Cesar Chavez, Arturo Gatti, who else? Angel Man Freddy. Who else? That's 5 right there. That's really enough right there.
Top fighters. So, they're all top fighters.
Yeah, all tough fights. Yeah.
You still watching the boxing nowadays, Ivan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got to. I got fighting.
Yeah. Who you? I mean, obviously me being an English fan, I like this guy Jared Ennis.
You know, it's crazy because, like I said, I came up in the late 80s, early 90s. I came through the era when like Sugar Ray Leonard and all those guys were retiring. But those are the guys that we looked at coming up and that we idolized, that maybe even some of us wanted to be. Because I know I'm a little later. I love Sugar Ray Robinson. My dad showed me a lot of Sugar Ray Robinson tapes. He showed me a couple Muhammad Ali tapes, but you know what? The average kid you probably talk to will probably say he was a Muhammad Ali fan, but I wasn't a Muhammad Ali fan. I was a Sugar Ray Leonard fan. I was definitely a Joe Frazier fan because he's from Philly. Sugar Ray Leonard, I love Sugar Ray Leonard. And I'm a big Ivan Robinson fan, So, but right now, like I was saying, it's crazy because, like I said, I came up in the 80s and 90s. And when I was in the gym training, Jerron Ennis was coming in the gym training, and he couldn't have been no more than like 4 or 5. And we knew then that he was going to be something special. But to actually live life and see this kid come through the rankings, how he come through, and he trains right around the corner from where I'm at. And at times, I go over to his gym to take my guys over there to get work. And I'm just looking at him each and every day, the way he trained. He is just phenomenal. And what's crazy about it, he got 2 brothers that went through it, Farad Ennis and Derek Ennis, and then he got his dad. So the kid is definitely a boxing fanatic. When he ain't training or sparring or doing a workout, he in the gym holding the mitts for the kids, teaching the kids. And the fun thing about that is you get to see all the kids around him, gather around him, try to emulate him. And just, he likes to sit and talk to the kids and do whatever. So he definitely is from a fighting background. He definitely from a city of a fighting background. And I think he carrying the torch pretty good. I honestly think not between me and you, I went on social media last night and said, I honestly think right now he will give anybody in that 147-pound weight division trouble, even the champion. And
easy.
Anybody. Yeah. And my man Derek James trains Earl Spence. I think Jerron Ennis even gives Earl Spence trouble.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. And I appreciate you talking to me.
Anytime.
And I'm really am grateful, and it's a wonderful thing you're doing for the kids and everything like that, and the youngins, passing on your extensive knowledge.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And God bless to you and your family, my friend.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, sir.
And I'll keep in touch with you over social media and stuff.
And I keep in touch with you too.
Ivan, all the best, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, champ. Peace.